Well, I'm here tonight for the Wentworth FEC conference on population policy, and I'm with here Peter McDonald. Professor McDonald is from the ANU, and he's really Australia's leading demographer, and indeed, as president of the International Demographic Union, arguably the world's leading demographer. Peter's written about the importance of our migration policy being focused on the demands of our economy. Peter, just what more do you have to say about that?
Well, it's throughout Australian history. The migration program has gone up and down according to the economy and the demand for labour, and that's even more the case today. Crucial today because the Australian labour supply would be falling without migration, and yet there is a strong demand for labour, and of course that's a dangerous situation. You can get inflation and hikes in interest rates and so on as a result.
Well, Peter, one of the things, echoing your views, I think, in many respects, I've argued against the politicisation of the migration issue because the migration policy, in my judgment, should serve our economic needs. If you start trying to turn it into other agendas, you run the risk that you get labour shortages of the kind you describe. What do you say about that?
Well, I've run the same. Same
okay.
argument.
We're on the same ticket in that regard.
Definitely on the same ticket. And I think at the last election, the debate we had about migration wasn't particularly seemly or particularly helpful because of that. Migration is really important to Australia's economic development, but it was put under assault in that election, and I think we need to move away from that.
Let me ask you something. I've always taken the view that and I say this as a constituency MP who has constituents that are concerned about overdevelopment and crowding and immigration and all those issues, as all people are. And I've always felt that the objections to immigration very often are a consequence of governments failing to invest in urban infrastructure such that population increases result in congestion. In other words, you put a lot more people into a suburb, but you don't have any increase in public transport, you don't do anything about other facilities, and naturally the amenity declines. Whereas if you invest in those facilities, and you see that in some of the inner city areas in my electorate, very desirable areas like Potts Point, for example, where there are those services, the density actually drives amenity or delivers amenity.
Yeah. Well, that's certainly the case. I guess the objection to migration in the last election was based on people getting stuck in traffic jams. Dick Smith gets caught in a traffic jam and it's due to migration. Yeah,
but whereas you would say it's due to somebody not building a subway there.
Yeah, the backlogs in infrastructure in Australia.
Okay.
A long-term thing.
All right. Well, it's going to be a very interesting evening. We'll be joined by Scott Morrison shortly.
Yes.
So we'll have a good talk tonight.
Okay,
Thanks, Peter.